Hello everyone, Akar's here. Recently I teamed up with a group of small game developers from YouTube. Together we decided to do a game jam, and that was a really good idea. I haven't participated in any game jam before, so it was a new experience for me. Since all 6 participants aren't big YouTubers, we decided to call ourselves TinyTubers, and the game jam was called TinyTubers Jam. You can find links to all of us in the description. The theme of the jam was pipes and tubes, and we had 2 weeks to do something about it. So let's see what Ty came up with. I wanted to develop a puzzle game ever since I worked on Forest the Horizon, and this was a perfect opportunity. I decided to create a small pipe building simulator, where you would have to transport water from one place to another, trying to save its flow speed. I started my little journey with some brainstorming, where I decided on pretty much every game mechanic I needed. Then I got to actually developing my game. The first thing I did was a pipe connector. It is a simple object which can be connected with other ones like it, using pipes. It is the most important part of the game, since it does all the flow calculations. You can see flow speed being displayed right on it. But what is flow speed? So basically in real life water is affected by gravity, and that's why it doesn't like going upwards, but when it comes to falling down, it's really fast. Flow speed in my game is water speed inside pipes. I had some additional brainstorming trying to find a proper way of calculating something like that, and here is what I came up with. We can find the length of the pipe just by getting the distance between connectors. Plus we can find an angle between connectors using some unreal magic. To find flow speed inside of the connector, we need to multiply the pipe's length, angle divided by 90 degrees, and some constant value. And then subtract all that from the flow speed of the previous connector. This way we can get a more or less realistic water behavior. Then I worked a bit on pipes themselves. I started with creating a procedural spline between the connectors, but I didn't know how to add meshes to them. And that was the time when I remembered about a new free plugin in Unreal Marketplace, which allowed to turn splines into meshes. I spent some time trying to figure out how it worked, and in the end I got this nice result. Since the collisions were kinda off and the player could get stuck in them, I decided to make the pipes walkable through. Next, I worked on building mechanics, cause the player needed to split and merge pipes or add pumps on them to increase the flow speed. Building mechanic here is kind of similar to the one I got in Forest the Horizon, but here I tried to expand on it, and made an attempt at adding some additional functions, like building on walls with normal aligning. But in the end I faced some pretty complex vector calculations, or perhaps that was Unreal's bug, but I had to screw it all and just make it so you can't build on walls. The interesting part for me was placing buildings directly on pipes, like in Satisfactory. But it turned out to be rather simple. Just needed to get the closest location and direction on the pipe spline, place my building there and replace the pipe with 2 new ones. Then I needed inventory so the player can store items. The inventory was a simple one, but I decided to display it using a radar menu, which I had no idea how to do. Luckily, I easily figured it out, and in like half an hour it already looks something like this. Of course I improved it later, but it was already kinda done. I also made it so your pipes explode if the flow in their parent connector is higher than 150. It adds a little more realism and a challenge for some levels. Total time spent on these mechanics was around 15 hours. Then I moved on to creating some actual buildings. I added simple supports, which can be used for changing pipe's direction, pumps that increase the flow speed, splitters and mergers, which allow you to split or connect pipes. But currently it looks kinda bad, so I decided to add some models. I opened up Blender and started my creative process. I decided to go with this bronze look on all the buildings, cause I thought it had that steampunk feel. As you can see, I didn't use any textures here, since I didn't want to mess up with UV mapping again. I also added a simple animation to the pump, so it looks a little more alive. After that, I started implementing my models. Just spawning them seemed a little off, so I added this nice dissolving effect. In fact, this effect is one of my favorites. I use it pretty much everywhere I can. But it really does look cool, right? Anyway, I still needed some icons for the buildings, as current ones look kinda off. I created a separate level and started shooting my buildings there. Then I cropped the images using Paint 3D and imported them into my project. With these new icons it already looked much better, but I still missed proper preview meshes for the buildings, and so I added ones. I also decided to add these arrows to make it easy to understand where is the input and where is the output of the building. With all basic stuff done, I started adding some UI elements like crosshair and mouse cursor. To improve the experience, I added an interaction marker, so when you hover a connector it says that you can click on it. Plus, I marked the current selected connector with this nice little circle, which jumps around when you click on different connectors. There were more changes and improvements, but they are less noticeable, so I'll skip them this time. Next on my plan there was the objective of the game. I needed to read some connector's flow value and depending on that open the door, which leads to the next level. It was pretty simple. I also made it so you have to keep the flow speed for the 2 seconds for the connector to read it. When all target connectors get what they want, the door will open. During these days, I also started prototyping some levels. Their decorations were dramatically different from what I have in the final game, but their concept was left unchanged. Then I moved on to adding some proper decorations. I spent some time in Blender creating all these assets and then started placing them everywhere. For the walls I used these cool scalable boxes, which are really easy to create. I will leave a tutorial link somewhere here if you're interested. Also, I was running low on time, so I decided to reuse one of my textures that I created for my previous game. But it's really simple. Actually, I could easily recreate it in like 5 minutes using Blender, but why would I need to do that when it's already here? Anyway, I need some more levels, so I started to design them. I didn't record that process, so instead, have a look at these nice particle effects when pipes explode. In fact, they're really easy to create using Unreal's Niagara system, but they're still rather beautiful. So it's day 13 and I still don't have a main menu. I guess it's time to fix that. I started creating this nice and simple menu. It turned out kind of similar to what I have in Exoland, but it still feels rather different. My favorite part about main menu here is level selection screen. I experimented a bit with the design and I really like how it turned out. After that, I added a simple pause menu, displaying all the controls in case you forget them. Next day, I worked on some levels and managed to finish them all. Plus, I added some statistics, so the player can see how much time did he spend on a particular level, and the number of buildings used. All these stats can be seen in the level selection screen. Additionally, that day I created a simple icon for the project, using good old Blender. And here came the final day. This day I added some sounds to the game. Mostly it's just 3 music tracks by Hazy, with no copyright. This music greatly improved game experience. Then I also found some old sound effects that are used for Farthest the Horizon, and added them to this project. In the end, I think it turned out to sound rather well. I moved on to some bug fixes and finally submitted the game. After submitting, I added some simple decorations for the itch.io page, and called that a day. Okay, it's over now. I can finally have some rest. So I'm very happy with how my game turned out, and I would really like to participate in such game jam once more. Even though my game is done, there are still games created by other participants, so let's go and check them out. Before we start, I'd like to say that links to all other jammers are in the description, and you should definitely go and check out their videos about this jam. The first game that was submitted was by Hotpo. It's called Clock. It is a really nice little maze game where you play as a spirit that tries to rebuild its lost heart. To do that, the player should enter different bodies and search for heart pieces. There are some problems with collision, but it is a really nice little game with a big development potential. Next, we have the oddly satisfying Liquid Dream Machine by Yesti. It is a relaxing puzzle game where you need to deliver water from one place to another. Its art style is pretty nice, and all the levels are rather interesting to play through. Plus, there is Zone 2, where gravity is upside down, so it becomes even more entertaining. Moving on, we have a game called Puzzle Pippin by Mr. Ozone. It's a small puzzle game where you have to build a way for this little ball and make sure it gets to its destination. I think this game could be a pretty entertaining mobile time killer. It just needs some more levels and that's it. There is only one thing that concerns me about this game. It's the boss face, especially when you finish the level. Okay, next we have Red Plumber by Lee Hess. This is a really pretty looking little puzzle game, where you play as a plumber that has to fix pipes on the graveyard. But it's not that easy. Graveyard is full of ghosts, so you should avoid them not to get scared. If you get scared, you lose. I really like the art style, but level design can be very challenging sometimes. Last but not least, we have Bomb Holes by Nocturnal Wisp. It's a simple space shooter with procedural generated map and some bullet hell elements. Personally, I really love dodging all these lasers coming from these flying space eyeball things. Anyway, I think everyone did a great job making all these games. You should definitely go and see their videos about them. I will put all links in the description. Plus, you can go to our gems page and read all the games there. So, it's another video that is coming to its end. Now, when the jam is over, I can finally dedicate time to working on Exoland. I hope to upload a new video in about a month, but can't say anything exactly. If you need help on your game development journey or just want to see a little more of my stuff, you can also join my Discord server, link in the description. Okay then, see you next time, bye bye!